Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've got a decently sized haul this week, so let's kick things off with Resurrection of Magneto, #1. So, where we left off with Magneto, he was dead. Before that, upon taking Tarn the Uncaring's seat on the Great Ring by killing Tarn in in what was, in all honesty, a very awesome manner, Magneto, to show how serious he and Storm were about living the Iraqi ideal, and not fearing a life that ends. Destroyed their Magneto destroyed both their cerebro backups, meaning that when each of them died, that would be that for them. They would be dead. Then Judgment Day occurred, and Uranos basically ripped out Magneto's heart, though Storm was able to supercharge him, basically get to, Magneto was able to keep his blood flowing by controlling the iron in his blood, and Storm kind of supercharged his powers, giving him basically an extra hour. However, then Magneto died at the end of that hour, and he asked Storm to not let Charles resurrect him, because he truly does not fear a life that ends. Of course, things got worse after his death. So, the issue begins with Storm having a dream of Magneto, surrounded by what appear to be 5 helmets, and it's 5 different helmets from his time as Magneto, including the white helmet he wore on Krakoa, his black and white one from one of his more recent face turns, and three of the red and purple ones. But this dream causes Storm to wake up. It's a nightmare. But Craig from NASA is there to comfort her, as well as the 2 Iraqi kids that Craig has been taking care of since Judgment Day. They wanted to make sure that everything's all right. But Storm goes to Blue Marvel, and decides to head to the waiting room. Upon arriving, she finds Tarn the Uncaring, as well as what appears to be Mistress Death, the Tower, the Wheel, the head of the Living Tribunal, heads, I should say, and what appear to be manifestations of the Infinity Gems, among other things. But Tarn tries to impede her progress, and is eventually destroyed. But Ashake, an ancient ancestor of Storm's, magic maker of ancient Egypt, appears to Storm. He counsels her on everything, what's happened with the waiting room, which appears to be empty, and also and so Storm points out, tells Ashake of her nightmare, points out there were, for some reason, 5 helmets around Magneto. And 5 is an important number. But Storm's already in the tower, but the tower is destroyed and Storm falls, meeting in Dominion, which she asked about Magneto and just explained that there was that the Dominion looked at Magneto, paired itself to the base strata, cataloged his pain, studied him, then sent him on. Not viable, useful, or enough information for assimilation, consumption, but information of interest. But, however, Storm is of greater interest, worthy, useful, consumable. And so, Storm blasts the Dominion with a lightning blast, and now she's back where Magneto is standing, surrounded by 5 of her headpiece that she wore prominently at various points in the last 50 years. And the last thing we see is Magneto kneeling over what appears to be lava with lists of names behind him. Interesting start. I have to admit, I had my own thoughts on how Magneto's resurrection would come about. Largely, Xavier saying, "Yeah, I know Eric didn't want to be resurrected, but we need him. So tough shit on it with what he wants. The needs of what's left of mutant kind outweigh whatever the hell Eric needs." With no one reminding him, his name's Max, not Eric. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got X-Force number 48. Where we left off in X-Force, Beast had found where X-Force had set up camp at the North Pole and seemed to be preparing for an attack. But he takes down Omega Red, breaks into the base, and gets some information. But Sage and Black Tom are talking. Sage is very much wanting a drink. But alarms go off. X-Force reacts to the alarms, find Beast with what appears to be a Krakoan power armor. But Sage reveals that she had the base of a no-space tumor. And that what's inside is going to piss Logan off. Apparently they've got she kept one of Beast's clones. Wolverine is adamant that no, he shouldn't be resurrected. And so Sage says, what do we do? Hunt him down, have Wolverine hunt him down himself? And, well, yeah, that's Wolverine's plan. But Sage says that strategy has repeatedly failed. But she's pointing that she wants everyone to hear her out before any full decisions are made. Cataloging some of his crimes. But she points out that the best way to stop Beast is Beast. But when Beast left Krakoa, he deleted all of his backups, except for one. Sage isn't sure if it was accidental or intentional, but the file was from a long time ago, soon after he was a member of the New Defenders. Sage didn't know him then, but some of the members of X-Force did, namely Wolverine and Colossus. Logan, to be clear which Wolverine we're talking about. But Logan states that Beast was then who he is now. You know, and states that if Sage brings this Beast online, then it's going to be twice the trouble. But Sage says she shouldn't have to put up the hypocrisy of Logan feeling that way. Or maybe she should call him Weapon X instead. And I mean, it's a very valid point. But everyone takes a defensive position. Beast comes to. Sage tries to talk to him, but he goes on the offensive. But eventually, they do put him in a cell, and Black Tom talks to him before seemingly passing out. Wanted to know about how Black Tom's powers work and he of course, wants to know what happened to himself. Why does he apparently become a war criminal? But Beast gets out and looks over his file. And is heartbroken. Basically, looks over what he's missed in the intervening years since that particular backup was made. And leaves the compound. Heartbroken. And that is where the issue ends. I can definitely imagine the learning about a past version of Beast, learning about especially a somewhat older but not just when the X-Men Beast being, well, as I said, rather heartbroken to see just what he's become. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got Immortal Thor number 6. Where we left off, Thor had managed to somewhat stop Utgard Thor by making him worthy of Mjolnir, basically giving him humility and a conscience, and yeah, that kind of fucked with him. Meanwhile, Dario Agger of Roxxon is basically looking to buy the comic book company that makes comic books based upon Thor. And so, Agger is reading one of said stories concerning a journey of Loki and Thor's. And the two end up having to face off against God Uller. Though Uller appears to be a bit more, not exactly antagonistic. But Thor and Loki actually talk with Uller. And then eventually Uller decides to slumber. And they mean to take a pouch of Ullr's, which Ullr being giant size means the pouch is friggin' huge. But Thor used Yarnborn, making a bit of a swing on Ullr, which does little to nothing. To the point that when Ullr awakes, he asks if he felt a leaf flutter down upon him or a teeny tiny acorn. But it appears that they are closer to home than was initially thought, but Dario notes that the story changes as he reads it. To which Enchantress states that it's Scald magic, and two can play at that game. And the prize is the mighty Thor. And that is where the issue ends. So I figured Immortal Thor would be kind of character defining in the same way that Immortal Hulk was character defining for Hulk. I wasn't expecting the same kind of, like some kind of weird body horror take on Thor, but which could kind of be interesting, really. But it would, if it were if the Donald Blake persona were back as part of the Thor mythos. I mean, Donald Blake exists in the Thor mythos, but he's currently a prisoner in Jotunheim, or maybe he's a prisoner in Asgard. And but yeah, having a running meta arc, that's actually kind of neat. I gotta say, I am impressed. Well done, guys. Well done. Anyways, that's gonna do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.